Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Rave Free Professional Wrestling. We hope you had a happy Halloween, and I am joined by two very special guest co-hosts. First, he has been going up and down the coast of England trying to campaign to be the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He is Sir David the Smart Mark, and my second co-host from the Windy City. You may saw him a few weeks ago at F1 America as he was spinning around in one of his cars as everybody else was right by him. He's Jake from the Windy City.
Lovely intro, my friend.
Great intro. And F the Tories as well.
And yes, I'm everybody's favorite Count. I am Count Stunning. I'm just here waiting for Jenna Coleman to call me.
What an awkward start now already off the bat.
No. I thought it was lovely. I thought it was one of his better ones, Jake.
Yeah, that's one of your better ones. Okay, I'll give that to you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and go right to the Stunning 6 questions because we got so much to talk about this week.
It's time for the Stunning 6 questions. All the whys and what have they done now?
And ladies and gentlemen, our very first stunning question of the week. What were your thoughts on this past Halloween Havoc from NXT? Guys, do you watch it?
I watched drips and bits of it. It was kind of what I expected. Pretty much expected that Braun Breaker was going to defeat Ilya Dragunov and JD McDonough, unfortunately. Kind of like a decent outing on that. But yeah, overall, it was not too bad of a show. Like, it was like what I kind of like about these NXT shows. It's like it's a simple watch, just to lay back, and then it's not too long. So yeah, overall, it's not too bad.
And David, how about you?
The content was okay. The booking never ceases to bemuse me in the quality of the wrestler, and it's plainly obvious the way that the NXT booking is going to go. The only question was whether they're making the step of having Braun Breaker hand over the NXT title and go up onto the main roster, and obviously that's not yet. It was all right, but I can't motivate myself over NXT, even allowing for the fact it's in better hands at the moment. And Nathan Fraser didn't win, so I'd lost interest after that.
Well, speaking of Nathan Fraser, if you didn't see the ladder match, you should go back and check that one out and the main event. Everything in the middle was kind of okay, but those were the two highlight matches of the night. Now, the ladder match was not the greatest ladder match in the history of NXT. That's still the one in New Orleans. And oh my God, why did they put Bond Forehead in that match? Because that dude was an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, 100%. But there's a lot of that at the moment in both NXT and AEW.
Now, one other thing coming out of NXT Halloween Havoc was the fact that Mandy Rose defeated Alba Fire to retain her title as she's going on to 1 year NXT Women's title run. Now, we want to send out our sincere condolences to Mandy Rose because she lost one of her older brothers a few weeks ago. So I want to personally apologize because I have been really hard on Mandy Rose because I wasn't sure she was the person to have this title, but if this brings her any kind of joy having the title, I'm all for it, and I'm here to see her do well from now on.
Good luck with that, man.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another thing that came out of the episode after NXT Halloween Havoc was the fact that JD McDonough apparently has written off Ilya Dragunov. Where's Ilya going?
It's a pretty good question. How he's written off, and hopefully, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like some of the problems about NXT right now is that you're not sure where things go from here. But hopefully, Ilya Dragunov will still have a sense of still being around and still look stronger over this. But yeah, I mean, kind of had a little bit of the deep end out of this.
I tell you where I wouldn't be at all surprised, lads, is see him appear for a rematch with Gunther because you've got the history there, but a lot of that main audience won't have seen it. And well, for us, it's going to be a rehash of a rehash, but still better than the majority of the product that's being given to us. For a lot of that audience, it will be a new matchup. And let's face it, if those two get together, it is going to be magic.
In the SmackDown brand, I mean, it'll be pretty good too.
Well, that's where I'm hoping we'll see Dragunov. I'm hoping it's not an injury that got him written off. I'm hoping they're deciding like, hey, let's go ahead and move this guy on to the main roster because his style, you don't know how long Dragunov is going to be wrestling at this level.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a great point, Shawn. Yeah, it's his style that's against it. But you look how someone like AJ, shall we say, has toned his style down, just tweaked it a little bit. so he can go longer, because he couldn't wrestle like he did in PWG or TNA, etc. That, you know, he'd have killed himself.
David, you guys give me an idea for an ideal dream match. This would be AJ Styles versus Dragunov. I want to see that match.
Yeah, it'd be a great way for him to be introduced, because they would have one hell of a match together.
They potentially could have one hell of a program together too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Or hey, how about Sami Zayn versus Dragunov? That could be a kind of interesting match as well.
Only if he comes in as El Generico. I'd love to see El Generico.
That'd be much better.
I'd
Yeah,
love to see just for one night.
Generico versus Dragunov.
I'd love to see the Kevin Owens show just for one night, and Sami Zayn and almost be a rib on Owens. Owens doesn't know and comes out as El Generico, just to see Owens' face. But I'm digressing, sorry.
Okay, guys, let's go over to our second stunning question of the week. Apparently, AEW's investigation into Brawl Out has come to a close, as this past week we saw a video showing the Elite being kind of fatal snapped out of All Elite Wrestling. So, according to Dave Meltzer, while AEW was in Virginia this past week, the Elite team was actually behind the stage there. They were there at Dynamite, and it looks like they're going to be heading back to the show probably around Full Gear. On the other hand here, we still haven't seen much from the camp of Punk, and the rumors going around now is the buyout is being tried to work out, and the hanging point was a release clause, because there's a rumor maybe he'll go back to the WWE. So where do you see CM Punk in about this time next year?
You know, without knowing the dollar figures involved, I could see Punk being a very stubborn SOB and not signing any buyout he doesn't agree with. He'll probably sit at home and get paid for the length of his deal just to prove a point. And you know, since I have the luxury of playing the hypothetical game, you know, if he truly doesn't, you know, seeing that there might be like a cordial solution to this. You know, if I was Tony Khan, I still have the chance to talk to him, but if it ends up being in a roadblock and there might be no solution to this, I'll be fine just to let him go. But you know, just thinking about this, it's such a sad situation. Seeing how much you know, AEW was at a high when he first came, when he first debuted at the United Center, and you know, I was there that night. Such a high for AEW during that time, and probably one of their greatest moments in history. And if this is the end for him in this business, you know, it's a sad way to go out, because it's been one hell of a run this past year. You know, great feuds with, you know, Eddie Kingston and MJF, you know, all the Hangman stuff. You can see it how it is. But yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. And you know, Dave mentioned the Observer that they're still looking to, you know, the investigation has ended and they're still in talks over a buyout. And you know, unfortunately, they did not mention that. Well, he's still recovering from a torn triceps. You know, not even one mention of that. And it's so funny because like in the AEW side of things, like yeah, it's been complete silence. We all had to rely on the reporters on this. Or it's on John Pollock and Dave Meltzer's end of things. It doesn't look like it's gonna enhance in legal ramifications. But here's the thing: like, are there going to be NDAs involved? Probably. But you know, knowing Punk, I mean, I don't see him signing like a non-disparagement agreement. You know, he's very open, and then famously known for the way he left WWE back in 2014. So we'll just see how it goes from here. But it's just a sad situation all around. And then, you know, the Bucks and Hangman, they're not at fault of this too. Like, they funny enough, like at times, like, you know, the Bucks, they can be people that can rub people the wrong way. You know, human beings and the way they go about their things. But I mean, hopefully this is the chance for Tony Khan to, you know, regain and take more control of his company, and have them sit down if they have any issues, and just not let, like, you know, personal egos just get in the way in all things.
You're so nice. You really are so nice. Right, let's get to the nitty-gritty. Investigation, sure. My ass. Has there been an investigation take place? Sure. Shawn's just said it. That the Elite were backstage. Tony's mates for the Elite. Punk was at fault. Let's not. I'm a Punk fan. I love Punk, and I will back Punk till I die. Punk was at fault because he shouldn't have laid hands. He shouldn't have actually fought. You've lost the moral high ground. He had the moral high ground. He lost it with a scrap. So he's gone. He's not coming back. He'll like you said, he's a stubborn SOB. Jake, He'll dig in. He's being paid an inordinate amount of money to sit on his bum, write his comic books, look at AJ, walk his dog. Why wouldn't he? And get better, as you said, because he's still got the torn bicep. Whereas the Bucks are so far, they're so, smart, they're politicians. They're not like that. They're everything that Punk isn't. The interesting fact for me is whether he goes to WWE eventually from this, because he's proven he's still got it in the ring. And obviously Hunter now is not stupid. Whatever his personal feelings with him and Mr. Brooks are, Hunter is not stupid. He knows if he gets Punk after the 90-day complete clause, he could royally ruin AEW ratings-wise. Because let's face it, at the moment, lads, overall, the AEW product is not what it was while Punk was in it. It really isn't. It really misses him. Like him or not, he put eyes on the product. He put bums on seats. There is no questioning that. And with the fact that people like Meltzer and Tony, the great love-off, is dwindling a bit at the moment, with Meltzer having the temerity to criticise Tony over the last couple of weeks. AEW is imploding, and it's still imploding, no matter what. It will be interesting to see the reaction when the Bucks come back. I think Shawn's bang on. I think it will be at full gear. I think that they will reappear. And that, because that's a big insult to Punk. That will be a huge insult to Punk. But
remember back in the pipe bomb when he said that, the WWE is going to get taken over by his idiotic daughter, or by Vince's idiotic daughter and his stupid son-in-law, and his doofus son-in-law. And turned out that WWE is doing good. So
WWE certainly, we're all agreed, it's better for having Hunter at the helm. There's no two ways about it.
So I think Punk should be eating his words there after that.
But this is the hell freezing over. If he wants it, let's face it, Punk doesn't have to work yet. He's financially secure.
I mean, he has a couple of jobs already. And he's an MMA commentator. He's doing some acting gigs, so
AEW overall is. There's been no investigation. There's nothing to investigate, really. And it was always going to be what we're seeing. It always was. The NDA clause, I think, is an interesting one that you brought up, because I don't think Punk will sign that. And Tony loves an NDA clause.
The thing with me and Punk is he's coming off 2 injuries back to back. I wonder if we just seen the last of him in ring for a good long while. I can see, like Jake says, I can see Punk going like, you know what? I'm going to let Tony pay me every cent he owes me. And I'll stay in Chicago and heal up. And we might see CM Punk in 3 years in WWE. But it needs to be a limited run, because I feel like if he gets injured again, that might be it for him in wrestling, like in ring wrestling.
I can't see him like if he does come back to wrestling, I can't see him having a lengthy run as a world heavyweight champion anymore. You're seeing there, and then how many times he got put in the sidelines and how much he got stripped, and I can't see him do maybe a full-time run. Just to mess up his body, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with a lot of that. But let's face it, the 90-day clause will cover his healing process, won't it?
So here's the thing I want to ask you guys, because I just saw a tweet from John Pollock a couple of days ago, and he was asking the listeners and the folks and the fans out there, if you had a Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame ballot, would you vote for CM Punk? And I can see arguments on both sides that he was the draw for AEW, but here's the thing though, if you remember, not a lot of people will remember this because it's since been a generation removed, but Shawn Michaels had a hell of a time trying to make it to the Hall of Fame, and which might sound ludicrous today. But the big factor was all the backstage problems that he caused, and the attitude that he put out back in the day.
Warrior in there, Punk certainly deserves to go in. Irrelevant of backstage shenanigans. Simple for me. Simple. Yes, he goes in.
I do agree with you, despite all the flaws that were put in there. So
I've been a fan of him since FIP, so I can't really. I'm not losing that. I know he's a very, very difficult individual to get on with. And in fact, meeting him for the first time, it was like it was a little bit, oh, don't meet your heroes. And it really was. He was rude. To be honest, he was rude as. But it still didn't stop me loving the character, loving the in-ring personality, loving his ability, and I still do. So yeah, he goes in for me.
I think you have to put him into the Hall of Fame just for the fact that he is span of his career from ROH to WWE to the year we had with him in AEW. And like the 6 to 8 months of that year in AEW was one of his best runs. So yeah, I would put him in the Hall of Fame.
And he also had like a lengthy run at the top. Among the top in the WWE system, as the champion for over 400 days. So, yeah, that could put him as a top contender right there. So, that's all I have to ask him.
Exactly. You can put the wrestler into the Hall of Fame while not totally liking the person behind the wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Standing question number 3. We saw the Fano Snap video that re-debuted the Elite this past week on All Elite Wrestling. What were your thoughts about this interesting video?
You first, David.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Honestly, oh shit, they're coming back. That was the reaction I got. I don't want to see him. And for the very reasons that we just discussed, how I still cannot get my head round in this crazy world of professional wrestling that we love, the real life and the character side of it, that Adam Page has got away from this scot-free. It just baffles me. In any other world, in any normal world, he would have been one of the first to be disciplined. But he hasn't been. Don't know. I'm not looking forward to it at all. I don't mind the Bucks. I don't mind Kenny when they're actually being serious wrestlers, which is probably more frequent in Kenny's case than the Bucks. I don't like what the Bucks do backstage. I think they're huge politicians. But my reaction to it was, oh, Christ, they're coming back. And it all ties in with the investigation being concluded and what have you. And Tony can't wait to get his little darlings back on television.
I agree with you there, David. I feel like a lot of people are letting Hangman Adam Page off too easy with this. I didn't notice anything until he brought up that weird promo that he had with Punk before Double or Nothing. I can remember something just fell off about him disrespecting Punk and then, it looking stupid at the end of the Dynamite for a big fight. I mean, and I also don't understand how the rumors of Colt Cabana were not shut down immediately. If that was the basis of this too.
And if anything's going to wind Phil up, it's going to be that.
Mm-hmm. As to regards to the promo, yeah, I mean, it might not be too long. Maybe at Full Gear they'll have an appearance, but it'll be interesting to see what the reaction will be like for them. I do think they will get a positive reaction. But in my opinion, yeah, I'm curious to see how they'll be received going forward.
The thing is, if they get heat when they come out, they're only going to embrace it, and it'll just go, all right, we'll get the heel persona. Yeah, we'll get the heel persona. What they actually need is people, which they ain't going to get, is people saying, no, I just don't want to see you. I want you to fuck up. Excuse me, Shawn. I want CM Punk. I'm getting riled here. I'm getting angry again. Because it does. I think it's a shame. I can't see CM Punk on wrestling television every week anymore, which is what I used to love. And both in any company, wherever he was. And at the moment, it's because of that.
And here's my thing. Like, this is one of the reasons why I think active talent should not be holding backstage roles at the same time, in my opinion. Yeah. And, like, from the beginning, like, I've had my concerns. Since when AEW started, I had my concerns about Cody, Kenny, and the Bucks having EVP titles because that could lead to some various issues, and we see it culminate somewhat to this. So
look at early doors, how much crap Cody got. I'd bring Cody back tomorrow. I'll eat humble pie all day long. Bring back Cody Rhodes, because at least he knows how a wrestling company should be run backstage, whether it's good or bad.
I mean, he released I think he replied on a tweet that someone talked to him about that. Hey, he didn't leave because of the Bucks and CM Punk. I mean, who knows? I mean, who knows? I mean, he's the type of political person. He's not gonna. He likes to keep it very cordial and don't want to burn any bridges. So props to him on that. So, but yeah, I mean, we saw some of the issues. backstage regarding some concerns about that with regarding Cody, but and what happened at All Out. I mean, this really brings up this issue again here.
Honestly, when I saw this video, I was going like, man, they're kind of poking the bear here. It's like, look at us. You take us out of All Elite Wrestling, what do you have? AEW? So it's going to be interesting to see if they return at Full Gear, because that's in New York. I'm waiting for them to go back to Chicago. The first time they go to Chicago, that reaction, I'm buying the pay-per-view just for that reaction.
Yeah, good point. Great point.
I mean, they are coming back here at Thanksgiving, so at Thanksgiving week here on the Wednesday, the night before, so it'll be pretty interesting to see. And I just bought tickets to that, so pretty interesting what will happen there.
Oh, no. Jealous.
Okay, gentlemen, studying question number 4. Last week on NXT TV, we saw the debut of The Rock's daughter. She's going by the name Ava Rain, and she's the newest member of the Schism. Gentlemen, what do you think about her being grouped with these 3 guys?
We'll just have to wait and see, but I thought she did decent last week when she first showed up last week. At first, when I saw the name, I was really down on it, and man, why can't you just? I always say it, like, why can't you just be herself? Yeah. Said the same thing about Charlotte when she first came into the company. Who knows? Like, I did see some reports that she's been well liked backstage. I mean, she's been training a lot. So, and then obviously Dwayne has been helping her a lot as well in her training. So, be curious to see how she will fare in the actual WWE system these days, going forward, especially in NXT.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing, isn't it? There's no doubt it's in her genes. She's in 88th generation superstar or whatever. She's going to be well trained. She's going to be well drilled. High hopes that it'll just be whether the E and I don't think the E dare muck her up in this case. And to be fair, whilst the schism is the schism, you've got some talent in there that can help her in ring. James Drake, is particularly a good in ring performer. There is some ability. She's in and around. She's not been put in with like 3 or 4 people that are going to get her or going to give her bad advice. That's the saving grace for me. But as Jake said right at the start of that, obviously it's wait and see.
Exactly. Now, you got to see the level of trust they have for these 3 gentlemen in Gacy and Drake by simply having the Rock's daughter pair with them, because they wouldn't give the Rock daughter to anybody unless they thought they were the best.
Great point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I feel like the 3 gentlemen that she's with are going to help her, especially with promos, because each one of them by themselves are pretty good.
Yeah, I'd just love to hear the Rock's daughter with a Scouse accent very soon.
That's good.
And I'm kind of happy they gone away from actually trying to use the real name for Rock's daughter, because if you remember Rocky Maivaga's debut, it was good for a while. Then everybody started going, Rocky die Rocky. So I'm kind of happy
it came out in yellow braces, Shawn. That's all you need to know. It wasn't the name; it was the yellow braces.
Oh yeah, and the hairstyle too.
Oh yeah,
and the hairstyle too.
It wasn't. You could be the best. I mean, unfortunately, his talent shone through. But yeah, it wasn't the best of starts, was it?
Yeah. I mean, another example when Austin first came to the company as the ringmaster, and he was like, and then he had Ted DiBiase as his mouthpiece and didn't really extemporate his full chops in the ring and in the mic. So yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of examples like this before. So
okay, gentlemen, we're going on to studying question number 5. As on this last week's episode of AEW TV, we kind of saw a quote unquote babyface MJF through the whole show. So is MJF being a babyface? Are we going down this road, or is the devil going to fool all his followers?
Oh man, look, last week was a pretty good episode of Dynamite, but I just think that the whole firm and them turning, well, quote unquote, turning on MJF is just a huge distraction to what's supposed to be the build for Max and Mox. I mean, the build for this program and the match at Full Gear just it's just not good so far. When that's supposed to be the focus, that's supposed to be the program you're supposed to get people to try to convince people to buy pay-per-views for. It's just, yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're just doing this right now, and yeah, it's it really sucked, to be honest. So, and MJF is a natural heel, and this tweener crap is just not doing it right now for me. But yeah, and another worry is that this could be an entire swerve from.
I think it is.
Yeah, from MJF. But the thing is that we've seen a lot of those lately and over the past year, the past couple of years. And if this is going to be another example of it, then sure, it'll probably work. But I'm pretty sure it will be a swerve. But to me, we've seen a lot of this. We've seen way too many of this, in my opinion.
I agree. It is a swerve. It's got to be. It has got to be, because if they're turning him, then they are just stupid. There's no other word for it there. And another thing, you talked about this, and think on, guys, right? As that promo started, as that section started, who did you have interviewing MJF, called him out? Renee Paquette.
Right.
Really, would the wife of someone, heel, babyface, history, or whatever, would she be interviewing the bloke that's about to attempt to knock 7 bells out of her husband in an upcoming pay-per-view? You just wouldn't do it. It's irrelevant of Renee's talent and real. Although I have to say, Renee has been disappointing for me since she's been in the company. She's still in WWE mode. She needs to relax more. She needs to, she needs to chill out a little bit. She's doing her ring announce, doing her backstage stuff and her front stage stuff in a WWE style. Admittedly, it's still better than anyone else that the company have got. But she is still doing that, and for me, it doesn't work.
Like, what do you mean WWE style? Is it in terms of her delivery or asking questions, or
delivering the style of questioning, the style of questions? The bit with Soraya on Dynamite made me cringe. Oh, mate, I've not seen you in how are you? Oh, look, here comes Britt. Well, we don't like it. It's just like, who talks like, who genuinely talks like that? And it's just, that was one thing that AEW did a bit better than the WWE for me, is that they tried to make it a little bit more realistic, a little bit more realism in it. Anyway, that's just a minor quibble. The MJF promo, MJF could come and take a dump in the ring and be good. He really could. But I agree with you, Jake. If they're turning into full-blown swerve, no. I'd sooner see it be a bait and switch for Full Gear and not a full blown. I know your point is valid. Your point is totally on point. Totally there. They've done enough of it, but they cannot turn MJF babyface. It just can't. This stuff. Where's my devil worshippers back? And naming what town were they in? He named the town so many times in his promo. He mentioned it. Norfolk, Virginia.
Last week.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. But, now, obviously, there might come. We get to Full Gear. There's a reason for this. He's gone. Yeah, I nearly got you, and now I'm going to be a complete bastard again. Which is what he has to be. He has to be. Sure. Otherwise, they lose him. They lose the impact of him. And his character, because you don't see him wrestle very often. Irrelevant of the stuff they're doing with this program about I'm going to wrestle him clean. Well, maybe I might be a little bit naughty. The whole point is that he has someone for backup. A bit like, I know me and Shawn talk about this often. Now Spike in Progress has got Bullet. He has to have that threatening backup because he's not physically opposed. Say he goes into the ring again against Wardlow. How the hell are they going to turn that one round? Which is a possible upcoming future world title match, because I'm convinced he's going to win the belt at Full Gear. Because Moxley needs time off. And that's the principal reason I think that they're going to change the title at Full Gear, because Moxley came back with the Punk incident from 3 weeks vacation, hasn't done it, worked. Fair play, I don't like Moxley's style or his wrestling, but he's worked hard for the company, and he's and he's due some time off. So I think it's where they go with it.
Gentlemen, I'm with you, because I feel like this won't he MJF face turn is becoming like a AEW plot device when they need something to do. They had a great promo battle between him and Regal. That's all you need to go into Full Gear was that. And they decided to come out last week and pour some average sauce on a great sandwich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great analogy.
It's a great analogy.
Great analogy.
Hey, that's more on you, Shawn. That's really good. That's really good. I would not be against, seeing a potential babyface run out of MJF in the future, but it's not the time right now. Like, he just came back. That's the thing.
I'm just going to throw something at you guys, and it is a little bit left to centre. Bear in mind with their current storylines, you've got the potential of the BCC imploding with the Danielson Castagnoli storyline. What about Regal turns out to be the bait and switch and masterminds MJF to victory over Moxley, turns heel?
David, that would be great. That would be like Nick Bockwinkel and Bobby the Brain Heenan join forces, and we could have this generation of version of that too.
You think about that.
Yeah, it can also be the when Punk and Heyman were together back in 2012, and that great dynamic not too long ago. So I mean, that'll be pretty interesting, and then I would totally be for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I would as well. But I've just had that at the back of my mind going, the Blackpool Combat Club have issues. Allegedly, and Regal spoke about this on his podcast this week in semi out of character. And I'm sat there watching it because I love Regal. I love Regal.
Yeah. And he typically doesn't do that on his podcast. He typically doesn't do that on his podcast. He usually is, out of kayfabe and just talking about
this. He was talking about this and some of the references that in that promo. And he said, do you know what? He said, some of them I remember, some of them I don't. He said, I had hundreds of wrestlers emailing me all the time. And he said, some of those replies I sent back to him sound like me, some of them don't. He said, and I'm thinking, hang on. My wrestling cynical alarm bell went off, and I thought, this is all part of a plotline, because it is a very popular podcast now, or vlog, or whatever you want to call them. Jake, you're the youngest, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's worth.
I'm the newbie here, so yeah.
Having spun that booking theory at you, just check out. There's a clip on YouTube. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but of him talking about the reaction that promo segment got, and it's very interesting for maybe a plot line.
Okay, so we get Regal and we get MJF. We still need an enforcer here. So do we bring Claudio Castagnoli along on the ride here?
I don't know how he necessarily fits in, though, with this, really. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I think you're right. There should be an enforcer in there.
Because of me, I feel like MJF needs to beat the hell out of this firm. The firm needs to go away. And we need somebody new.
Get your own material, Burkhead. Go away, and when you get there, go away some more.
Once a great man told me that. Okay, gentlemen, sixth and final stunning question of the week. We are less than a week away from Crown Jewel. We are a week away from this amazing world title match between Roman Reigns and Logan Paul. How does the WWE get around this booking issue?
You first, David.
Oh, cheers, mate. Thanks. You start first on all of them, then you dump that on me. It's got to be shenanigans. I mean, in theory, Roman should squash him. He's not going to. I'm dreading it. I really am. I don't care if Paul's good. And now I love Roman even more after Friday night. The timing of the character break from Friday night, I think we're going to talk about that in a bit, made me love Roman even more. They've totally got the heel-face dynamic wrong with this match. I just hope it's quick and shenanigans sort it out, and I don't want to see a rematch.
Mm-hmm. I totally see a squash in this too, and say what you say about Logan Paul, but I don't think this is gonna go that far anyway. So,
I feel like this should be no longer than like maybe 10 minutes. Let Logan get a couple of good punches in, then Roman just gets pissed off and just goes to town on the guy, and we don't see Logan Paul until like WrestleMania season.
Do we have to see him at all, Shawn?
Well, I'm pretty sure his contract's going to last through next WrestleMania season because it's in Los Angeles, so I'm pretty sure we're going to see another Logan Paul sighting.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
As we're talking about the Paul brothers here for a second, I know a lot of people are kind of excited that the other one, Jake, lasted with Anderson Silva. I'm like, guys, that was a boxing match. Can we see him try to survive a round in UFC with Silva, please?
It's Anderson Silva, an old guy. I mean, who gives a crap?
Steady, Jake.
Yeah.
So I know it's still the Spider.
It was boxing. It was taking Silva out of his normal element and putting him into a boxing match.
Hey, like, Daniel Cormier called him out and called Jake Paul out for for a mixed martial arts fight. I mean, and then obviously, Jake took the coward's way out. So
he knows he hasn't got. I mean, at least they've. I mean, I don't know. It bemuses me how people buy into this. I mean, they're fit guys, both of them. They're fit guys, and they're clever because they've made money out of nothing.
Sure, they're clever businessmen. Sure.
Yeah, no, but no, they're not getting a penny of mine, I'm afraid.
No.
And I bought GCW the world on, so that's how little money they're getting out of me.
Yeah, and Dana White's not giving a penny out to either of them, and thank goodness.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been your Stunning 6 questions for this week. Before we go on to our preview of Crown Jewel, let's talk about the best thing in professional wrestling this past week. It was on Smackdown, and it was a talking segment as we saw the head of the table, Roman Reigns, address the elephant in the room. And gentlemen, are you all ucey?
I am all ucey. All the freaking way. Are you kidding me?
Priceless moment. Matthew from Botchamania was rubbing his hands. He was like this. There's been next YouTube video just on that section alone.
I mean, I'm just so happy that Vince is not in control backstage during this time. I'm pretty sure he would have been all off his mark and be pissed off with these guys. But I mean, I'm just so happy, just so relieved to see how natural these guys are.
It's funny because I read an interview about 10 days ago with Solo, who was saying that, and he was being asked, you're in the Bloodline now. And he said the one person in the Bloodline that's I am so grateful to be working with is Sami Zayn, because he's absolutely brilliant, not just his experiences of boss, but he's so funny. And he actually said before long, he is so funny, it's only a matter of time before some of us actually corpse live. He said, because that is the hardest thing to do when working with him, is keep a straight face and stay in character. Now, obviously, they just broke on Friday, because it is... I mean, Roman's reaction, Roman more than anything else, as much as Sami is just like cold for this, Roman's reaction was fantastic. Ad-lib, worked with it, brought it in, didn't not acknowledge it because the crowd had heard it, the crowd were laughing at it, and he even got a better laugh than Sami did. And then they went back into character and went straight back into what was, in theory, a serious moment and this potential bloodline split. It was just perfect for me. Anyone who slags that off has got no heart.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to link that clip in the show notes. Let's go down to the show notes and hit the link. It'll take you right to the YouTube page to show you that great segment. It's worth watching it over and over for a while.
Yeah. How can people say after that Rampage is a better show than SmackDown every week? No, it's you're lying to yourself if you say that's the case every week. I mean, SmackDown has been tremendous. The past watching the past couple of weeks and trying to catch up with it. It's been a while, and Rampage is lacking that good storytelling and star power. I mean, that's as simple as that.
Star power, particularly, Jake. I would say star power more than anything else.
So we're going down this question here. The two problems with Rampage is 1, A, like you said, the star power. B, the time slot. Friday night at 10 p.m. is probably going to be the worst slot you can possibly get. I would literally try to shop that to a different day, maybe Thursday, or you can't have it Wednesday because you got Dynamite. So Thursday would be the maybe Saturday. You would put it on Saturday, maybe.
I just think
recording it with Dynamite, right? You think how Dynamite ended with Moxley getting the hiding of his life? What opens Rampage? Moxley coming out fresh to Daisy. And everyone knows it's recorded. It's the same crowd. It's the same arena. You got the same people in the front row. People aren't stupid. And I instantly looked at that and I went, huh? But, and surely if you're in the audience as well, it's got to be I don't know.
Well, here's something that I do want to bring up. Do you think AEW should have just stuck with Dynamite as their main TV show? And do you think it was too early for AEW to introduce a second TV show?
No, but I just don't think they do it paddled off Dynamite. Because, the crowd are going to be burnt out for a start. I know it's only an extra hour, but it obviously takes the recording. And it's obvious what they're doing. Just, say have a 90-minute show from another arena. There's got to be a way of doing it. They managed to do it with Dark. Even if they, out of American football season, just keep Daly's place for it. I don't know, is that saturation? But, there are men actually paid millions of dollars to make these decisions within that company. But what they're doing at the moment, not only is the time slot, which obviously I'll take Shawn and yours word for it because it's the North American time slot, I'm sure that you're right, but it isn't working because it's being recorded off Dynamite. And that, for me, instantly turned me off because I'm thinking, hang on, Dynamite ended with Moxley getting a good, understandably in the storyline, etc., etc. Then they start Dynamite with Moxley coming out fresh as a daisy. It's like, how's that work?
Yeah, they have no continuity. They need continuity between the two shows, really.
Yeah, and Mark Henry, I want his job.
Yeah.
Because all he does once a week is do a catchphrase.
It's the easiest job in the world. I gotta give it to him, man.
Yeah. You can't, and where's the Big Show?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time, too. He's not even doing Dark or Elevation anymore.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead. Let's have a look ahead as we preview Crown Jewel.
What's on tap? The guys give you their picks on what you can't miss this week.
And gentlemen, let's go ahead and talk about the first match, probably the match that we probably don't want to watch. It's Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul for the WWE Unified World Title. Gentlemen, try to explain to me how Logan Paul has a chance to hell to win this match.
Do you have to ask?
Not really, no.
and the story. 30 seconds.
Wins, yeah. Shenanigans. Hopefully it's a squash. Move on, Shawn.
Okay.
If it's 2 minutes, it's still too long. So it better be 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay, the match I probably would want to watch this show for is the next match I'm going to preview. It's the OC versus Judgment Day, as we have AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows versus Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. And can you believe I'm saying we were looking forward to this match with Dominic Mysterio in the match?
Yeah.
Great point. But yeah, we are. There's 2 matches on this card I'm looking forward to, and this is one of them. I'm not bothered who goes over either. I'm just looking forward to it. I think it's going to be hugely enjoyable. And that's, and to have the luxury of not wanting a particular result works for me.
Anywhere else in the world, I would say this should be the match that opens the show, but this is Saudi Arabia, so I don't have any idea what they would start with. They might start with, let's just pick out Omos versus Braun Strowman, as Braun Strowman has said that this is like Andre versus Hogan. No, Strowman, it's not.
Andre versus Strowman.
You
I don't know about anything else.
You think Omos will power slam Braun Strowman down to the ground?
This is my toilet. This is one of my lots of toilet breaks. Oh, hello, Jake's gone. Somebody get Jake back.
Years down the road, Omos is going to be doing interviews where he says, "You remember when I power slammed the 800-pound Braun Strowman?"
The only thing that can make this match... Oh, Jake's gone. Where's Jake gone? The only thing that can make this match worse is if Ryback turns up in the middle of it. Seriously. Think about that, lads, for a second.
I'd rather be Skip Sheffield or Husky Harris.
Do you know what, right? As a wrestling fan, whenever we drive up, you call them freeways, we call up the motorway. Go up the motorway, and it's the M1 in England. We do a Ryback joke as we're driving by Sheffield. Oh look, Skip Sheffield.
Okay, another match on this card is Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, and I got a feeling Brock Lesnar is going to go over because this is Saudi Arabia. Even though I feel like Lashley's the better person to put over here, I kind of want to see this match because they're 2 big hosses and they can go.
I think this might be my match of the night, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a good brawl, in my opinion. They could surprise.
Send me some of that Chicago beer. I want what you're on. I want a night out with Jake.
I have too much beer last night. I'll give it. I'll give that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, swine.
Okay, let's see if we can guess David's other match that he wants to see. maybe it could be Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre just for the fact that Scarlett's going to be there. But this is Saudi Arabia, so it's probably going to tone down the Scarlett entrance.
No, it's not the other one I want to see, sure. But thanks for trying. No, it's not the other one I want to see. It's a steel cage match with Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross, who's as green as a pepper tree. If they get away with some dignity, I'll be grateful. But it's not. Again, it's another toilet break match for me.
Karrion Kross is just not doing it for me at all. I don't know. I don't care what you do with him. I don't care how much improvement he does, and in the ring, it just doesn't deliver. It's like just a modified version of the Fiend, really.
Drew's gonna have to carry him. Drew really is gonna have to carry him.
Yeah, Drew's gonna have to. Yeah, save him, really.
I really feel like his first run in the WWE kind of hurt him.
Ugh.
And there's not any way to save him in the WWE. I feel like he needs to go somewhere else, like New Japan, or maybe I wouldn't even say AEW. He just needs to go back to the Indies for a while and come back. Let us forget him for a while. Then he comes back, and then like maybe he can get over. But he's really just an entrance.
Yeah.
Same thing I feel about Baron Corbin too. So.
Okay, David. Let me try this again and see what other match you're going to enjoy. Oh, I know what it is. It's Bayley versus Bianca Belair for the women's title match, right?
You're really making him suffer, aren't you, Dave?
Right. I tell you what, you're lucky we won the Cambridgeshire Derby on Saturday, and I'm in a good mood. No, it's not Bianca Belair versus Bayley for the umpteenth time. I'm really not looking forward to more hair being thrown around, which is a shame because I'm not a fan. And if you listen to this show, I'm not a fan of Belair. But she is a little bit more than... What annoys me is it's just the hair gimmick. And I think there is more genuinely there. Bayley's proven. Bayley should be the champion, but okay, then for whatever reason they put it on Knoxville's finest or second finest because the finest is sat looking at me. But no, it's not for me, and I don't really care. I do care about the result. I'd like to see Bayley win, but she...
I feel like we got to a point where I really don't care about this match, and even if Bayley wins this title, they have done so little with damage control. You remember how hot they were when they came in like 2 months ago, and now they just feel like mid-card nothing. Like cannon
They
fodder.
did nothing with Io Sky. They not a lot with Io Sky. I was really excited when she came back, and didn't do much with her so far. So Io Shirai gets me high, but didn't really help her a lot. So
Good, Jake.
Okay, so I feel like the only match left is probably the other match that David is looking forward to. It's the Usos versus the Brawling Brutes, and we know that David's going to take the Brawling Brutes, right?
Well, in theory, yeah, but they ain't going to win. Obviously, they're not going to take the titles off the Usos. But I think this will be a very, very decent match as long as Ridge Holland doesn't kill anyone.
Do you expect a lot of chops or a lot of fist arms?
Yeah, a lot of forearms, a lot of European
forearms.
Pete England will manipulate. Yeah, let's go basic. Let's go right back to the beginning. Pete England will rip some fingers apart. I just love anything. That man is a modern day. He's a modern day Nigel McGuinness for me. Pete England, Pete Dunne. Sorry, whatever.
Oh, Pete. Yeah, but
he's a modern day Nigel McGuinness for me, and I could watch him. Having seen him in some technical stuff over here in the UK, prior to obviously him going over and becoming what he has done, he is a very, very technically gifted. And if people need to see that, he is superb. And I absolutely, genuinely love watching him. It's one of those that I don't care, as long as he gets about 10 or 15 minutes. I know the result, the Usos are going over, but it doesn't matter for me.
Yeah. And he's an entertaining heel too. Even especially when he changed his character to Butch. I mean, he really served him well too. So, yeah, props to him.
They've picked up on the Midlands, Shelby family gimmick, and I don't blame them, to be fair.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been your preview of Crown Jewel. It's going to be a show where it might be 2 matches worth watching this Saturday afternoon, but nothing to go out of your way to watch. You can just watch it anytime on the WWE Network or Peacock. Ladies and gentlemen, please go over to RFPW on Twitter. Give us a like, follow the show, Jake, where can we find you on this massive worldwide web that we call the internet?
If you want to follow me on Elon Musk's Twitter now, you can follow me at Jake Olinar. And I don't know, I'm probably not. Probably 0% chance that I'm going to be verified now. But you can still follow me there at Jake Olinar, Instagram at jakeolinar.mp4.
Find me at Big Duds at DBrightly6 on the Twitter thingy, Dubry Firkin, or David J. Brightly on Facebook. Give me a hit up, give me an ad. I am more than happy to ruin your wrestling opinion for you in about 30 seconds. There's not many like-minded people these days, and you two of them. I'm getting very, very bitter on social media with some wrestling fans at the moment. So seeing you two and your lovely little faces over there in North America always lightens my day. And Cambridgeshire is blue. Amber Army, go home, proper derby, up the posh.
Okay.
Don't okay that, Jake. Don't just cuss that away like an old sock. Very important.
Yes, this is a pro Petersboro posh podcast, Jake.
Thank you, Shawn.
Peterborough posh, okay.
First derby in
Whatever.
21 years. And you look at some of the YouTube footage, it was not a day to take the family to the football. It was magnificent.
I prefer
I'm not
motorsports.
condoning any form of violence at sports, obviously.
I prefer motorsports, so not horses. So go F1.
What are you going to be like for the World Cup then?
Speaking of the World Cup, ladies and gentlemen, in a few weeks, RFPW World Sports will debut with our preview of the World Cup, so stay tuned for that. I can promise you it will be highly entertaining. And until then, just like the Hotel California, you can always check into our show, but you never leave, so stay stunning.
Thank you so much. Stay stunning and fuck the Tories.
This is Sergeant Arms of Christina on behalf of the guys. Thanks for listening to today's show. Please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star rating and a review. Until next time, the liberation continues.